Hello and welcome. I am Ana and this is a new episode of Project Co, the podcast channel of Efecto Colibrí. A channel inspired by words that start with co, community, consciousness, co-creation, co-evolution, and of course, colibrí, which in Spanish means hummingbird. We have honest conversations with change makers to explore mindsets and initiatives for positive change. The stories we tell and the stories we listen to have the power to regenerate our perception of ourselves and others. Stories regenerate. This is why at Efecto Colibrí, we produce and distribute podcast content to inspire you to create a more human reality in harmony with planet Earth. Discover more at www.efectocolibri.com. What moves you? Do you listen to your gut? How do you give and take from society? Did you realize that you create your reality with your focus? Today we talk to Faiz Kamaludin, pilot, father, social entrepreneur, podcaster. He is a PhD in social entrepreneurship and sustainability and leads the Malaysian Catalyst 2030 chapter to accelerate the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals across borderless markets and industries. Today we talk about social entrepreneurship, sustainability, passion, values, and purpose. To find out more on how we can affect our communities and ultimately change the world, tune into Faiz's podcast, The Social Entrepreneurship and Sustainability Show. Faiz, welcome to Project Co. It's a pleasure to have you on board.
Thank you for having me, Ana. It's nice to see you because I met her in person in Barcelona just a few months ago. And it's always nice to actually know the person physically. And when you talk now for this podcast, we get a better appreciation of each person. Thank you for having me.
It's true. Thank you. Of course. I mean, it really changes, no? And it complements each other, like via the virtual world and then getting to know like the energy in presence. Although it was very short, but it was a lot of fun.
Yes, it was. Yes. We got caught up in a different part of town and I was to tell the viewers or the listeners today, I had a meeting with Ana and I was rushing to get Uber to meet her and we were late by 20 minutes, I think. And we were so sorry about that.
20 minutes.
Yeah.
No, don't worry. Don't worry. I was busy working. I was like, at the end, this is super interesting, because I wonder sometimes, what do you do with these 20 minutes? What do you focus, no? Do you want to focus on, Faiz is not coming on time, no?
Uh-huh.
Or do you focus on, I can meditate, or I can answer a couple of emails, or I can prepare the meeting with Faiz, no? Like that. At the end, it is, I believe life is about what you choose to do with your attention. Of course, I wouldn't focus on saying, Faiz. But this, of course, it has been a process of maturing, no, in time, because otherwise I would get too frustrated.
Yeah, definitely. I'm like you too, because sometimes I'm easy that way because, sometimes things hang up and I always give people benefit of the doubt. And sometimes, my wife says, you shouldn't trust this person, you shouldn't trust that person. But I always give somebody the benefit of the doubt because, even on traffic, if somebody's driving crazy, maybe he has to get somewhere in a hurry, we don't know. So everybody has a story and, like you say, what I'm going to do with this 20 minutes, you know what, I'm going to be positive about it and I'll do something like probably catch up on some work or emails, or maybe watch TikTok, something like that.
Faiz, I'm so excited to be talking to you today. I was wondering, I would like to start with a question.
Mm-hmm.
Who are you?
Like,
who is Faiz?
Okay, that's a good question. I'm very, I don't look at myself as anybody special, but someone fortunate in this life that I've lived. Because when I was studying early on, when I was 20, I wanted to be an architect, to go to UK to study. But I got into a program to become a pilot. I got a scholarship and, that really changed my life because I was desperately wanting to go abroad to study. And the scholarship was like 2 years in Malaysia and then the next 4 years in UK. And then when the offer came to become a pilot, which I didn't know anything about. I just took the plunge and I got a place into a flying school in Australia. And it taught me a very valuable lesson in which when I knew nothing about flying, I had to go, then there wasn't the internet. So I had to go to the library and, I got to read up all these things about aerodynamics, aerofoil, how does the aeroplane work, and I actually went to the Malaysia Airlines headquarters in the middle of KL City, took a bus and go right to the top floor and met a receptionist and say, can I have your financial report? And she says, why do you want this? Because I'm going to join this company. And true enough, I learned the roots of that company, the aircraft that they had, who are the bosses. And during the interview, those are the things that I answered and I got the scholarship. So fast forward a few years later, when I became a full-fledged pilot, there was an opening. Malaysian Prime Minister said that, we want to send one Malaysian to space, and it will be from the public. So the conditions were you need to be above 18 years old and you have to have a degree or you're a pilot. So, I applied from over 11,000. I made it through in the course of 2 years, I think about 9 selection process, and made it to the top 4 to go to Moscow, Kosmonauts Training Center, or the Yuri Gagarin Kosmonauts Training Center. And I had at that time 25% chance to go to space. That was back back in 2006. Yeah. So that changed my perspective on life. I saw the bigger picture in terms of my personal background, how I needed to study more, to have a better education background, to study my master's, my PhD, because the astronauts there, when I met these full-time NASA astronauts, they had degrees, double masters, PhD, and all that. So I thought, I'm just a pilot. I had nothing. So that inspired me, and that program also made me, because part of the astronaut program, we had to go out and do community work. They were grading us, part of the it's like a competition. You're against the 11,000 or in the end the top 4. How well can you communicate? How well can you give back to society? Because the one Malaysian that went to space will be the icon. Will be the one that will lead, will be that role model. So from then on, even though I didn't get the opportunity to go to space, I said, you know what, my journey doesn't end here. So we started doing a lot of programs for children out of school. And I thought the best way was to promote the knowledge of science, That's my mission to school children across Malaysia. And from then on, I started to do a lot of programs. We got a lot of grants. We taught them how to do rocketry workshops, build solid fuel. We were the first in Malaysia then. And now, the momentum, the traction has grown. So, space community and people in the space education has really grown in Malaysia. So I'm proud to say that, we were there when it all started. And now we are leading organizations, consortiums, and even Catalyst 2030 to take charge of, a social entrepreneurship movement. And it all started from, just an adventure trying, why don't you become a pilot? And, why don't you try the space program? And we never know where life will lead you. So you just keep a positive attitude, keep learning, preparing yourself. And that's how I ended up to where I am today.
Wow.
And now talking to you, Ana, right?
Yes, I find it incredible. I find it incredible because at the end it was like, at the beginning, you wanted to be an architect, and then you suddenly were open to say, no, okay, maybe why not exploring, this option of being a pilot? And this why not, this what if, is this attitude that I recognize in the change makers that I talk to, which really makes a difference, no? Instead of saying no, but, which is something that very often, maybe more in certain cultures, it's more often in certain cultures than in others. But it changes everything in life, no? Which is what we were talking about at the beginning. What do you focus on? And the what if attitude is definitely something which is very powerful.
Yes, I remember when, at the time I told my mom, Mom, I'm going to go to Australia. I got offered to, a scholarship for flying school. And she said, no, you got to stay on I was on a scholarship to become an architect. You got to stay, you didn't go. My dad said, no, you didn't. I said, nope. I just said, this is what I'm going to do. And at that time, I think I was 20. Or was it younger? I think 18 or 19, because I was already working at 20. So at that age, I said, you don't really know what the consequences are. You don't really know where your path will lead you, because it's going to lead you to a real tangent in your future. But we were brave at that age to say, Mom, nope, I'm going to do this. And they cannot convince you otherwise. And really, my fear at that time was, what if I get like air sickness, right? People say, you don't know until you start your first flight in that small aircraft. If you have air sickness, you're not going to be a pilot. You're not natural. So we were worried, we taken this gamble on that first flight. Am I going to get air sickness? And I was fine. So, I was worried about that. And until today, 32 years of flying a commercial, and I still love flying. So that even though I work a lot with community, with all the social entrepreneurship movement, making social impact, but no one can take that job that I love, which is flying, away from me, no matter what. I really love that part. Yeah.
What do you like about flying?
I think the particular aircraft that I fly, I've been flying the Boeing 777 now for 17 years. I like a long haul flight. I like the aircraft. It's, I wouldn't say state of the art then, but it is a very reliable aircraft, and the distance that it takes you, I need to go only one way, like Los Angeles or from Taipei, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Anchorage, Miami, whichever it is. I like to stay in a different destination, a culture. I don't like to do those. If I go Taiwan, Taipei to Hong Kong and back, I don't really like those daily flights. But once in a while, we do get it. It's part of a pilot's life. But I like to get away from everybody, switch off your devices. You have your own time. You can concentrate on whatever you want to do during that flight, and think about what you want to do with your life, and what you're going to do maybe at the destination when you arrive. Are you going to go to the beach and run, in LA, or are you going to go? For me, usually it's about running. Okay, where am I going to run in San Francisco or in New York? Am I going to go to this park? So you get to explore the destination in which people don't know about. We all know, there's top 10 tourist thing to do, but you have your own thing. Sometimes I don't have the fear of missing out. If I go to New York, I don't have to go to Times Square, but I just go to certain places, maybe certain things I'll do it the next time. So I'm not particularly hard up on missing out on things. So I just go and do my own stuff, and I'm happy to be away, to be in that destination. So that's why I actually really love flying.
It's very interesting. Thank you for sharing. Because I was thinking, so basically it is, what is coming to me from what you're saying is flying is like a break somehow. No?
Yes.
Like being in this place where there's no place, no space, no time. So it's kind of a break, but you have to be fully attentive of what's happening because you're messing with human life.
Yes.
And then you also have the capacity to take this bird perspective, like literally, to plan next steps, basically.
Yes.
Reflection and planning somehow.
Yes.
So it's like a strategic move.
Yes, and people say, a pilot's job is easy, you just press buttons. But actually, you need to really bring your A game during, the time you're taxiing to take off. And then you approach, just say you're going to New York, it's busy, the instructions are crazy, people are talking in there. And, you have to really be fast, you have to be sharp, so it is important, to have that skill as a pilot, and it comes with experience. So people go, we do push buttons. It is very relaxing during the cruise. We don't have much to do, but monitoring. But when the time or the crunch comes, you need to bring your A game. Definitely, you really have to be sharp. And that is something I have to emphasize on people. And if something goes wrong and whether it's bad, you need to have that knowledge and the experience to apply it at that critical phase of the flight. So,
I would think how do you connect
like these capacities that you have obtained, no, that you have developed as a pilot, then to your work with communities, with kids, and then the next one to your work to create social impact. Because it is very interesting. These are kind of the three clusters that I see in what you have been telling us. No, I am in the air as a pilot. I have the time to reflect while being very sharp. And then I implement this knowledge in order to create positive impact for younger generations. And then also to this final step, which is how do I foster social entrepreneurship and social impact in Malaysia, leading the Catalyst 2030 Malaysia chapter.
Oh, okay, true. Okay, so let's walk part by part, right? So I think, first of all, you need to have a change in perspective. Like I said, if you want to make the decision, you know what, maybe a regular guy is concerned about finances, having a stable family, having a car, but you need to also tilt your view and think, what can I give back, right? So with the experience that I had during the space program, gave me a platform, I can share this experience and actually inspire children. And at that time also, Malaysia was having issues with science literacy it was declining. So this was a perfect solution to get their interest back in science. So by doing that, you are giving back to community, how do you say, tirelessly is not really needed. Nobody really cares, but it's something that you're passionate about. So, you have to get that passion, like as the same passion as you want to save money and provide for your family, that same passion to giving it to community, but not really asking back, what can I get out of it? So it has to be something selfless. Okay, I'm going to do this. Sometimes my wife will say, why you want to do this? No, but okay, you go ahead. It's something that he wants to do. Your friends say, that's something that he likes to do. And it doesn't bother me because I'm not doing it to get approval or getting acknowledgement. It's not about that. And we do some of these things behind the scenes. Nobody is really asking us to do it, but we want to do it. And from that, you can see the impact that we're trying to do. So we, at first, of course, I decided, because I was doing, after I did my master, I was doing my PhD, people can clap, the kids can clap the whole time. It doesn't mean it's impactful, right? So we need to come with surveys, we need to interview them. So it's okay, after we do a rocketry workshop, after we give a talk to the whole school, over 400 or 500 people, okay, come in, we will survey a portion and says, which part did you like about this workshop? Which part you didn't like? And some of them say they don't even like the talks that we are giving, So we get a real indication of which areas that we need to work on and which areas are really impactful, like they really like working on the rockets. So this is, I think, something that I learned is important to actually measure impact, because you can get 1,000 likes, you can get 1,000 claps, but is it really making an impact? So this has actually transferred down to leading Catalyst 2030. After I obtained my PhD with the subject that I worked on is social entrepreneurship and sustainability, I developed a conceptual framework to combine these two constructs, to interconnect it. And it is important, especially when the pandemic came. How can social entrepreneurs, be sustainable? It's more important, right? And making social change or social impact is something that is naturally sustainable. So, it is something that needs to be measured, and people always forget that measurable part. They're like, what? We give a good narrative. I can tell you today, Anna, I'm doing this, but I tell you a lie. It's just a narrative, right? But have I measured it? What are my figures? How does this translate? That is important. So that's what I think social entrepreneurs and also change makers out there need to do, is still, I know it's difficult, but need to still measure their impact, to know where you stand today, right? Or how you progress for the past decade or few years.
I love what you're saying, because actually just a couple of hours before starting this chat, we were finishing up a meeting with our team at Efecto Colibrí, in which we have decided we're creating this questionnaire, in order to start understanding the impact that we are creating via the podcast that we produce and we distribute. no? Which is, it is super complex, no?
Yes,
and we
right.
know it is an adventure, and we know it's not going to be perfect, but I would love to start to understand how it is really impacting our community of listeners on the one hand, our clients on the other hand, and the speakers that are on the podcast channel, because at the end, it is a change in narrative. This is our hypothesis, but how is this really impacting our community, no? And this is, I think we have been exploring and looking at different sources in the internet about how to measure the impact of media, no? How to measure the impact of content. And it is, I haven't found anything. Do you know of any potential sources or any organizations who are doing it? Because I think it is, for us as podcast producers and distributors, it's key, no? Because what we do is social innovation and social entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
And hopefully positive social impact.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. Yes.
We don't know.
Yeah. Well, it comes back to in academia, right? So there's if we study social impact measurement, there's right now 9 ways to measure, and the most important or the most highly used or the most expensive would be social return on investment, SROI, and the other one that is widely used is the balance scorecard. So a lot of people tend to use this balance scorecard. It's like you can have like what you're trying to do now. So this is, you have a survey out, you count maybe the number of downloads, okay, or what are the narratives, qualitative or quantitative, and then give a presentation in a picture form or in numbers. So it can be customized to your particular things that you want, impact that you want to measure, your case that you want to measure, right? So it's not a straightforward answer, So, you, like you say, you discussed it, and okay, this will be what you want to measure, and this is what you're going to present, right? So I think that is, in fact, a good start, because you are already thinking of measuring your impact. So it's definitely a good start. So maybe your second impact measurement report will be something more customized, something more in-depth. So you work on something and we roll with it, right? Like we stated from the start, why not? Let's just do it, and you need to get it out, because sometimes the narratives and, investors are smart now. We are funding you this amount of money, and you're telling me this narrative, but I want to give you more money, but you got to give me more, how do you say, a better impact report. Otherwise I'm going to say that this is really not worth their funding. Correct? Or for your clients. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And at the end, it is also, for instance, we're not looking necessarily for funding, but we exist because we want to create a positive impact, no? Because we want to foster an inclusive and more just society. And how it is, we exist since I don't know how long, like already since 2017, no? Yeah. So we have a lot of content, and we get a lot of positive feedback, no? Yeah. And definitely the numbers of our listeners are growing and so on. But we don't have this in-depth knowledge that you're talking about, which I think is super, super important, no? Because it's the only way to improve.
Yeah. But getting back to where I started from just now, it doesn't, sometimes I say, is a work that some people don't really care about this space, and no matter how in-depth the impact or report is, some people don't care, but you still need to have that passion to do it. So don't let it deter the listeners out there. If you're a social entrepreneur or somebody who wants to start social entrepreneurship, I got to measure impact. No, you don't have to start with measuring impact. I'm just saying that it will be good if it can be measured. But if it's your passion, you do it. Even you're changing one person's life and you can't measure that, it is still good. So, I always encourage people, do something that you feel passionate about in your community, no matter how small it is, it will affect certain change. And everybody can contribute to that change if it's positive, right? And, totally. I don't want to contradict myself, and say like, oh, no, it doesn't matter, you don't need to measure. No, later on, when you progress, you get bigger, you have like a bigger organizations, you're dealing with bigger communities, then you should start to think about this measurable impact. But otherwise, don't let this become like a blocking, a stumbling block, or something that blocks you from doing something that you see as an issue you're passionate about. Just do it. Go ahead and do it. Don't listen to Faiz. He wants me to measure impact. No, I want you to be passionate about what you feel that you can affect change in your community, that impact,
Yeah, totally. At the end, it is about developing the relationship with your community, no?
Yes.
Because sometimes it is the ecosystem versus ecosystem, no? Or linear approach versus fractal approach, no? Like we're all in a cycle and we're all part of the same, we're all interacting.
Yes.
So the more the merrier somehow, no?
Yes.
It's interesting because Faiz, I wanted to ask you, like, you were a podcaster, you have a show, social entrepreneurship and sustainability show, which I imagine comes out of the PhD that you were telling us about before, no? Or how did you decide to become a podcaster? What do you talk about there? And most importantly, maybe you want to start with this one. What does, on the one hand, social entrepreneurship mean? What does sustainability mean? And how do they connect?
Okay, yeah. Actually, I was stuck in Chicago I had like 4 days there, and it was below zero outside, and I thought, hey, maybe I should. I was thinking of ways of how to connect because I just took a leadership position in Catalyst 2030 Malaysia. How to get people interested in this subject, and the subject is very dry, and people don't want to read your thesis. They don't want to read your published journals because it's something, I would say, boring to read. So how can you make it more fun? So in a podcast, even in a podcast, it could be dry too. So you have to inject some of your personality in it, right? So just explaining the basics of what is social entrepreneurship, what is social entrepreneur, what is social enterprise, what is sustainability. So to answer your question, social entrepreneurship, these three facets. So when we talk about social entrepreneurship, we talk about making a business which has a social mission at the heart of its existence, right? And sustainability is protecting the interests of our future generation. So these are just the basic definition. So we can get deeper into it. So that's why we bring in examples where people can relate to. I bring in all the success or stories of wonderful case studies that I had, and how they can be replicated and other people can understand how it can easily be done. It's not something complicated. So that is how the podcast came about. And mainly just to promote Catalyst 2030, the organization, and also to promote some form of, a desire or passion for somebody out there who thinks that being a social entrepreneur is great, it's fantastic, it's such a good branding. It's not an exclusive club, it's like, oh, I'm a social entrepreneur. You're not, anybody can be a social entrepreneur. You can do it any day, and it's not exclusive club. It's something that you want to do for the community. And anyone out there, listeners of Efecto Colibrí, this podcast can also, inspire other normal businessmen, who are a normal entrepreneur to think about their social mission, because businesses must or should have a social mission that helps the community in the future or presently, or in the time to come. Every business should be a social enterprise. That's how I see it. And I think every business is going towards that, right? Don't you agree, Anna?
I agree. I am positive. Some people call me a dreamer, but yes, I agree. I'm 100% in with you.
Yeah.
And because I was thinking, Faiz, I love everything that you're saying, no? And
you can say something negative too. It's okay.
Yes, because the word that comes is also responsibility. No, this is serious, and we need to hurry up a little bit in the way that we think about reality, basically. Because we are used to think in a very short-term and egotistic way. No, so we only think about ourselves and what's good for us somehow. No, like if we look at humanity, no. This is what the current structures have promoted, no? So at the end, we need to shift this short-term view to a long-term view, and to be working for something which is gonna and see the result in 30 years, or even see the result, not even see the result, never, really requires I don't know if humility or empathy with younger generations, or maybe just unconditional love, philanthropy, like, this kind of I'm going to die anyway. This feeling of I'm going to die anyway. I'm not so important. No? Let's do it for the collective, basically. No? Because the question that came to my mind when you were talking about the social entrepreneurship and sustainability show and inviting all the people who are listening to us to join us in the movement, no? Which is something that we really do need, is if you could share some of this mission, no? Because we were talking your personal mission in this life. Because we were talking, you have been talking about all the projects that you have already created, which are incredible, no? And they probably all of them have a positive social mission. What is your mission as Faiz?
I think most important thing now, because these are stages in, we do the groundwork, we deal with kids, we helping community, then we now dealing with organizations, now we're dealing with consortiums, now we're dealing with global entrepreneurs. The platform gets bigger, and the higher you rise in this platform, your leadership skills comes in. And the most important thing for, I think, leaders is to have a vision, right? So what is your long-term vision? What is a 5-year vision, 10-year, and what is the vision after that? This is where sustainability comes in. So you need to actually think out of the box and have this shared vision with everybody else. This is where you want to go. So people will know. People won't think that, what comes after this? How does this organization stop? If it has to stop, yes. What comes after that? So having this vision, that means you need to plan specifically for each organization. So for social entrepreneurship too, you need to ensure that organization like Catalyst 2030 thinks of their long-term vision. And it comes back to sustainability. How can we pass this planet to our next generation? So I will be gone after this for sure. I'm growing old, and everybody else will. But how can you have a succession plan? Who will take over the leadership after this? Will he carry out your vision, or it will not? So I feel that is important. It comes with your personality, with your strategy, with your communication skills, your leadership skills, and this will impact or inspire the younger leaders to take over and carry out whatever strategic plan or vision that you already have set for the future. So I think that is important to me.
And could you share them a couple of values that move you?
A couple of values. I think one is always make time for people. For me, no matter how that sounds so busy, but you know what? No matter how tired I am, if somebody calls me, hey, I want to meet you, or today, Anna, we have a podcast. No matter how busy, you know what? If I make time for you, you always make time for me the next time. Something like that. So I always believe in making time for people. I don't look for anything back in return, but I do believe that if you do make time for people one time, that you need to meet somebody, that small break that you need in your business or in your organization, somebody will come to help you. So if you're stingy with your time, say, you know what, forget about this podcast, I'm too busy, I'm tired, I'm going to sleep. Somebody needs your help, or you need somebody's help one day, and he'll say, Faiz, I got no time for you too. So it goes around. So I always believe in making time for others. That's important.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Faiz. I don't know if you want to share something else, if you want to go on a closing note.
No, I think I'm very happy, and I always tell people, go for it, make time for others, and with whatever you do, like when we started off this session, when you come into tangent of your life, don't be, sometimes I think people now, or the new generation, but I don't like to compare, I'm just saying that we think too much, we analyze things too much, we don't go with our instincts. Sometimes, I think before this session, we mentioned it, our instincts already says, pull out or go left or go right, and we don't follow it because we're too analytical, we're thinking, we're searching, we're trying to get assurance. But sometimes it's like, you know what, I'm going to be a pilot. Boom. You don't have to think too much, right? I'm going to get out of business. Doom, get out. So, you need to, I'm going to do this. Doom, do this. So we need to trust our instincts more. And I always tell myself, I need to trust my instincts more. But yet I still go through this process where I'm trying to analyze and overthinking, So it's something that I think all listeners should actually trust your instinct, because when I'm a pilot, I really do trust my instinct, and it always works out well. But sometimes in business, I am still catching up on that part of my life. So maybe I also need to grow up and trust my instincts more in business.
Listen to your guts.
Listen to your guts. Yeah, that's right. You too, Ana. Listen to your guts, right?
Yes, I will. I take it. Thank you so much, Faiz.
Thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate it. And I hope our friendship will grow. And I hope we will get the social impact that we want to, that we desire. And your business and my business, our social businesses will do well in the future.
I'm sure.
Thank you for listening to this episode. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. You can find all the references of the episode on our website, www.efectocolibri.com/proyectoco. If you liked it, rate us with 5 stars, leave us a comment, and share it with your network. This will help us reach more people and make social innovation become the norm. So in advance, a big thank you. If you have questions, feedback, or want to introduce us to a guest for the podcast, you can write us directly at ana@efectocolibri.com. See you next time.